Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Dominions 4, the 7-person free-for-all series, playing as Shinuyama, and today I am joined by I Seen You Before. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
My throat's bothering me a little bit today, so I'll be trying to rely on you a little bit more to do the talking, but other than that, I'm feeling really good, and I think we have some exciting stuff to talk about in this episode. I'll first just blow through these very quickly. I'll let you comment on any battles as necessary, but basically, Ulm has a nice role-playing thing here. We wish to congratulate you on your victory in taking High Wood. We understand that you are hard-pressed by Asphodel, and as we once were, and remember the sacrifices that the Goblin people made to keep Ulm safe. Our armies are currently on the move to attack Asphodel, and we shall not stop until we reach their capital. To victory for the living, the people of Ulm. So a really nice role-playing message from Battle Moose here, and we completed research and alteration. We also importantly got enchantment up to the level we'll need for flaming arrows. Now there's a battle in Feral Woods. I don't remember. Oh yes, so this is where our kappas were. You want to commentate this one?
Oh yeah, sure. So in this battle we can see the application of some black centaurs, probably straight from the capital, as well as the kievian beasts that are summoned by the enemy's dominion. So basically, we're playing Asphodel. Thanks to their dominion strength, they get a random amount of free spawn, which are the kievian beasts that we see right there. Like the one that looks like an undead elephant. Those are usually the better ones, otherwise they get undead bears and stuff like that. So the way our battle went is the Kappas are actually doing pretty good on their own with their 2 attacks, and they're actually being able to pierce a bit through the defense until their fatigue gets the better of them, which is why most of the time you don't want to fight online with a Kappa, because the more fatigue they end up getting, they can fall unconscious and also receive bonus damage. So that's pretty much what happens to them at this point. So yeah, our kappas just end up getting a bit chopped up by whatever is being brought by Asphodel. But yeah, that's a small route for us.
And I guess the important thing to note here is that even though we lost that battle, I don't think it's a cost-efficient trade, but Asphodel has a limited supply of black centaurs, and we did kill all of them in that army.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus, because unlike us, they can only recruit the black centaurs from their capital.
And their capitals, it's pretty, I mean, it doesn't have that many provinces around it, so it probably doesn't have a huge amount of resources. Okay, so then we have one in Rivia. This is, oh, okay, so this is just their main army. There's nothing really to talk about here, but we see the formation they're lining up in. We've already seen this, have we? I think we have. So.
It's basically the army that was heading towards us.
Okay, we have Koromu. This is a battle between, this is us taking the territory in Koromu, the unpopulated territory with, what's his name? Gaius Avidius Maximus, something like that?
Yep. And he did put defense on it, so it's a good thing we added a few units together.
Yeah, right. So we already took this one when we knew he had defense, but I messaged him, and then he said, I do have defense 1 so that nobody can do anything. So this is his defense 1 again. So again, we didn't take any losses there. And Glimmering Fields, this is... Oh, this is the remnants of our Oh, this is just province defense.
Yeah, that's just province defense.
So the only thing to note about this then is just what they have there. So they have 5 black centaurs down there.
Yeah, so Asphodel is basically trying to split his black centaurs together with Kievian armies to make, I believe, little independent raiding groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we didn't, apparently in Fenica, this is the province right outside of Ulm. They lost it to the independents attacked it or something.
Oh, nice.
Probably had an event. But I think the results of this were that even though province defense was killed, nothing else was. And if you lose province defense only in a battle, it gets completely returned, right?
Yeah, as long as you keep the province defense gets replenished on the next turn. On the
So
same
they,
turn, actually, between battles.
yeah, I think yeah, right. It goes right up right away. Um, and they didn't lose any of their main army, so they only lost province defense. Okay, good. So that was it. Other than that, our fortress on the throne province is now complete.
Hmm. And we use our scout to build a little, I believe, supply storage to increase our resources, as well as increase the administration and defense of this fortress.
Yeah, and that's I just want to point out that I am really like I seen you before has been giving me advice to make sure we don't devote too much money to the building up these fortresses, but true to my name, I'm a very turtley player, so I really like to get nice fortresses up. So that was kind of we probably could have built more recruited more units this turn if we didn't do that. But I really like having nice fortresses, so that's why. But the biggest thing we're gonna note here, and there's so much we can talk about. I don't know. Should we do all the game theory discussion now?
We could talk a tiny bit about it. So what is going on right now is that Asphodel is going in onto our lands. But the question is to catch his army, which I believe our army is strong enough to do if we can group it back together. We have to attempt to anticipate where he's going this turn.
Yeah.
So
I mean, well, this will probably be the majority of what we talk about. So let's just very quickly mention the High Woods thing. We were defeated in Fair Woods. My commander retreated back to High Woods. We're gonna vacate that because it doesn't look like we're gonna hold it. So I'm gonna move him back to Utter Deep. I think we put province defense in Utter Deep as well.
yeah, to prevent any undead coming in and trying to take it behind us.
So we're gonna secure that. We're gonna send the Kappas back to get reinforced. And then we'll go back maybe over to the Darks or Utter Deep to continue raiding there. So, what else do we have, like, in the grand scheme of things? I think that everything else we're
Stone
doing...
Heavens. Yeah, Stone Heavens.
Where's that? Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. You want to say this?
So we're basically moving Gunther Blook towards Stone Heavens and hopefully backstabbing. Well, that probably won't kill Asphodel. He probably will react to it eventually, but that will just keep one of his forces busy at the back of his capital, while hopefully Elm moves from the front.
That's right. That's a really good point, because we know their army's here, right? We saw the 5 black centaurs in Glimmering Fields. So it would be foolish to try to go meet them through the Independence. That's just more stuff that we have to kill ourselves. Why not just go through and start taking their lands directly?
Yes.
Research-wise, we don't have much research going on, which is a question I asked a lot about because I'm always nervous. But the reason is, yeah, I mean, we're going to do Conjuration to get this up to, what, level 3 next?
Yeah, to get Phoenix power.
Uh-huh. And then after that, we'll go back, probably grab Enchantment 5, and
Yes.
we'll have that. That'll be better, but that leads us to the point why we only have 33 researchers, because everyone is now on patrol. This is because out of all the various options, from Rivia, from Asphodel, I'm going to line up the options, and hopefully, Sean, you can just talk. Mind you, when we actually did the strategizing, I even remember telling somebody, okay, it'll just be like, I'm just going to do the turn, I'm not going to do the recording for this. Because we're not recording immediately after we finish the turn, but we finished the turn, a couple days ago, and now we're actually doing the recording because I didn't have time. I said that we would I thought we'd only take 40 minutes doing our turn, and we ended up talking, I think it was for 2 hours about this.
Was it? Wow, time went by fast.
Yeah, but it's just all the game theory, all the different things the different paths we could take. It might not have been a full 2 hours, but you can just... That's how much time we spent a long time thinking about this. Basically, Rivia's options, Asphodel's main army. If we can catch this army, Asphodel is dead. If we defeat it. If this army dies from Asphodel, Asphodel dies with it. They have nothing else. So if we can catch it, especially with Man and Ulm and basically all even Vanheim to some degree pressuring, but just especially Ulm and Man, if they lose this army, they're dead. So the important question for us was, where is this army going next? If we can anticipate its movement, we can take Asphodel out of the game. And we know that the 3 places it looks like, or the 4 places I guess you could say that it's possible for them to realistically go are, out of the 5, is not Temiglia. We don't expect that. We expect Retreat, which is unlikely, Stonegrave Mountains, Shinuyama, and then Cerna. And I'll let you take it from here, Sean.
Yeah, so one option that Asphodel had was to retreat back to the southeast towards his capital. But since he already committed his forces into digging that deep into our provinces, we believe that it's not actually one of his options he's gonna take.
What do you mean,
So,
southwest or northeast?
I mean northeast.
Okay,
Yeah, my
got it.
bad.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, my bad on this
And
one.
I agree that we did think that.
So basically what Asphodel can be doing is going towards Stonegrave Mountains and hopefully raid our provinces around. So that's one option that we have here. Or he could go straight to Shinuyama, expecting us to reinforce Anserna, then he would be able to siege our capital for 1 turn, and then he would probably move away. Because if he gets on Shinuyama, he will have access to all those provinces around it, from Anserna, Sylvania, Great Woods, Forest of Eden, Hexwood, Sermiok, I can't really read the name right now, and Stonegrave Mountains. So, yeah, that would be pretty bad for us because we'll have to end up chasing Asphodel for the rest of the game. Another option that he might go is straight to Anserna, but the only problem we're facing there is that our forces are not grouped up, and I think that Shinuyama would have been a worse of option. So what we're doing right now is trying to catch him at Shinuyama.
Yep, that like the amount of time that we spent going through the different options, weighing. We were trying to take into account what even does Asphodel see in Shinuyama right now. Does he anticipate that we have the number of troops that we have? Does he think we have this many troops? Does he think? Does it look like he could actually go into Shinuyama and beat the forces there? Does he think that we will react? You know, the game theory. And I think what we ultimately decided is the worst option for us would be to guess he's going somewhere besides Shinuyama and then to have him go to Shinuyama.
Yes.
So that's ultimately what we decided, is to play very risk averse. And I think the reason for my kind of not wanting to guess anymore is because we lost Feral Woods. I kind of guessed that Asphodel wouldn't move there, and they did. It didn't end up going as poorly for us as it could have, or I mean, it wasn't a good exchange, but we have a few kappas still, and we did eliminate his Black Centaurs, so in that sense, things went, better than expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it still shows that in the mental game, if you're trying to be a genius, if you're trying to be, like a Patton or a Rommel, to bring up 2 like famous World War II, or if you're trying to be any historically like a Alexander the Great, and you want to predict things and do things well, sometimes you have to know yourself. And I think I just thought I was smarter than I was, and we didn't outsmart Asphodel, or we got caught. It doesn't really matter. The point is, I'm not going to try to predict Asphodel's movements like a genius anymore. I think it's just better for us to play our odds. And that's why I think that Shinuyama is the smart choice, because even I remember telling you that I think that one good option for us is just to move to Rivia.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is, even if he moves to Anserna, or we can just follow behind him one step at a time. And that way he never owns more than one province of ours at a time. And I thought this is like obviously not a good strategy, that we're just going to play whack-a-mole indefinitely, but you can think of it this way. While his army is doing nothing in my territory, somebody's army should be approaching his capital. So if we play the defensive game here, which is what we have still decided to do by not attacking, even if we had moved to Rivia to try to attack him and he wasn't there, but we had just followed his army along, that's kind of defensive. Both of those would have been an acceptable thing, considering our allies should be... We're tying up the beast. We have all the Hydra's million heads engaging us in the lands here, while someone's planting a C4 device on the body of the beast itself. If that analogy can make any sense at all, which I think it doesn't, but that's okay.
It's worth saying we're doing a great diversion right now while people go in and sabotage the back lines, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the best way of saying it. We're a diversion for the Asphodel, and I don't think there's anything we really stand to lose because we're going to lose some income over some turns. We're going to lose some territory temporarily, but first of all, their territory, they're not gaining anything from it because they don't trace it back to a fort. And on top of that, the amount we're losing is pretty minor compared to taking Asphodel just out of the game altogether.
Definitely. And one option that Asphodel might be trying to do is to go to the west and try to get back to his capital through our back door.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be hard for him because we have Sylvania in the way.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Sylvania, he can still pass through and go. He just won't be able to take Sylvania itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. It's good that we have this fort here. Is definitely a fantastic place to put it. He can retreat back over here if he wants, but if he does, he basically just has done nothing with this big army.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, my army most likely follows him this way. We have Man or Ulm coming down. The end result is the same. I think the Asphodel is just on its last dying breaths. If this army doesn't do something miraculous, we're kind of, I am not you, but I am at least talking about this army a little too casually. It's still a pretty significant army. I just feel like the amount that we have coming into Shinuyama, which is units moving to Shinuyama. So we have Asukai Rin with his group, which is 22. We have Sunahira, the Bakemono Shono. He's with all his reinforcements coming out from Sylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another 45. And then we have the people already in Shinuyama, the 20 crossbowmen. And Tortuga-san, now awake, is leading a force of 68. And we're now able to do flaming arrows. So I think if it comes down to a big fight, okay, if we lose, I think we'll win. I'm pretty sure we'll win. But even if we lose, Asphodel's army should be just a piece, a fragment of its former self.
Definitely. He will definitely get some heavy casualties because he's encountering a main army right now. It's not like a simple province defense. It's actually a scripted army with flaming arrows, and those armies usually hurt if you're not ready for them.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that we will even add a few more archers with the province defense. So, okay, well, is there anything else we should talk about for this turn?
No, I think you might want to talk about some scripting the Ubas, why we gave them eagle eyes and dust to dust, and I think that's good.
Why don't you actually mention that? It's a good point.
Okay, so basically what we did here is that every Uba that has a dev 2, we scripted her to raise skeletons in an attempt to spam skeletons to block the enemy. Otherwise, the other Ubas that have, 2 in water or 2 in nature, we scripted them to casting Eagle Eyes for a bonus precision, and then spamming Dust to Dust to get rid of the Kievian swarms.
Mm-hmm.
And that should hopefully be strong enough to deal with Asphodel's army if we encounter it this turn. And that's also the reason why we switch everyone on patrol, and those guys on move and patrol, so that they all join together in case Asphodel attacks the province. Because otherwise, if no one is patrolling, Asphodel will just attack the province defense and probably win by default.
And a big decision about this, as I kind of alluded to earlier, was putting every Uba off research. Putting them on patrol means they're not researching. And the reason why I was very opposed to this idea originally is I don't want Asphodel to inflict any damage upon us, and they are inflicting economic damage to us if they're forcing our Ubas not to research every turn that they don't research. But I seen you before's point was if we get into the big battle, those Ubas are much more important than the one turn of research that they would provide otherwise, right?
Yeah, like basically when you need to use spellcasters, one tip in Dominion's 4 is to just use the maximum that you can. Don't restrain yourself. Even if 4 Ubas might have been enough, it's better to be on the safe side and get 8 of them or more.
Okay. Well, I think this was actually a perfect video that summed up exactly all the thought that went into this turn, which was a significant amount. And we're going to make mistakes and stuff. You know, there might... I guess I could check for the 15th millionth time if all these forces are arranged correctly. I guess I should show also what we are, our formation here. Do you want to kind of talk about why we chose this?
Yeah, for sure. So what we have in this formation is a classic, let's put everyone with high HP and protection in the front to act like a wall, and put everyone else at the back as an archer. We kept the samurai archers in the middle so that if they ever need to go into melee, those guys actually stand a chance. Otherwise, because we're using flaming arrows, we just want to get in as many archers as possible. Even if they have a not so good little short bow, being buffed with flaming arrows is definitely worth it to just spam the maximum that you can. And yeah, that's basically our strategy. The other ubas were put on the front, the one with summoned skeletons, so that the skeletons will move through the crossbowmen and head towards the front if our ogres start dying.
Yeah. I think it's a really good setup. We have all our ubas. I mean, it's just... Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think that's why I really think we'll win if we engage him, but... Okay, well, I think we'll leave this as a standalone episode because that way I can start getting the episodes out more often, since I think basically one of the members went on vacation for a little bit and there's been a huge downtime. So in order to try to get some videos posted without too much delay, let's leave this as its own standalone video. And it'll also add to the suspense because on the next battle we're going to know what Asphodel does, and I'll just leave you in suspense until the next episode then. Anything else you want to say? I've seen you before?
Nope, that's it for this episode.
Okay, alright guys, well, I'm really excited. I'll try to bring in more of a lot of the role-playing that has been going on behind the scenes in the next episode as well. But just to give you a brief summary of that, I'm encouraging Man to attack with his huge army, which you'll notice vacated Bahamut. And I told him to drive hard, and I think the forces of Man have said basically they're not strong enough, or they don't want to get caught on the little isthmus or whatever, I don't know, little channel that this is. And I'm trying to encourage them, saying that, look, Asphodel's in our lands, we're distracting them, you need to do something. So it's a role-playing point, but it's also a fair point, I think, just from a non-role-playing standpoint. But I scripted it, I mean, I wrote the story such that, like, one of my messengers arrives with, like, arrow holes in his cloak because he had to pass through Asphodel territory now to get to Man. And I said, oh, Man, this is your time to rise up. I'll probably quote a little bit more of it on the next turn, but I don't have it up now. Anyways, I think that Das is actually making a comic out of all this, and I'll probably post that, a link to that, either on the next episode. I'll probably do it because I don't want any spoilers, or maybe I'll do it on this one. If I have to see how he's doing in the development of it by the time this episode actually goes live, which is not going to be, at the same time that we're recording it because of the, the delay to keep anybody from getting new information. So, okay, so I'll touch on the diplomacy more on the next turn, but other than that, thank you again to I've Seen You Before for joining me. We had I don't know, it was actually a lot of fun to go through all the game theory here. And ultimately, for me, the takeaway point from all this was sometimes you want to be the daring general and you want to be victorious on camera. And when I made this decision, or obviously with I've Seen You Before, but when we made this decision, I felt really comfortable with it because I don't feel like we're doing something. I'm not trying to behave outside of myself. I'm not trying to go beyond my own abilities. This is a very safe move, and I think it's also an intelligent one. So I feel actually much more comfortable with this than I did about Feral Woods. Like Feral Woods, I wasn't sure about, but I feel much more comfortable about this. No matter what happens, I feel like it's a good choice. So. Okay, so thanks for watching this one, and we'll catch you back for the next episode, which should show us what Asphodel has done. Until then, thanks for watching, and take care.